Good morning, everybody, and welcome into the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta. We're here at the Steven Singer Studios. Hugh Lamont Douglas III will be joining us on today's program for a fine Hugh's Day morning. And guess what? Hugh went down to the field before the game to, as he likes to say, chop it up with certain Eagles players, mostly members of the defensive line, as one would assume, because that's the position he played. And he understood what was going to happen in that game. He had a good idea of what was going to happen in that game during pregame when he was talking to some of these guys about the hunger that they had going into the game. That might sound cliche. That might sound, again, down that high school Harry route. But you know what? Whatever it was, it worked, because when Hugh talked to these guys, he kind of saw the fire in their eyes when it came to starting off their season and the Nick Sirianni era. And also, as a defensive line, looking at Matt Ryan and just saying, oh, we gonna get that. So I look forward to listen to you guys hearing the conversation that you and I had last night about the Eagles' 32-6 victory over the Atlanta Falcons to start off their season. We're going to get into that conversation. Obviously, Hugh has some great nuggets of information about that. Hugh also, it's the first time we've talked since the passing of Big Daddy Graham. So Hugh obviously worked with Big Daddy as well. So Hugh shares a couple of memories towards the end of that interview. And we talk a lot of football, as one would assume. And honestly, what's the real big complaint? Is Atlanta that broken up about this game, or are they just focused on the Georgia Bulldogs? Like, that's the conversations you have to have when it comes to Southern conversation about football. Are we talking about college, or are we talking about the professional ranks? Because often the college ranks will take over the professional ranks, and it doesn't seem like the Georgia Bulldogs are really going to be overshadowing the Atlanta Falcons throughout this week. It seems a lot of people in Atlanta, and rightfully so, are pissed off at what the Eagles did to their team. Because, as even Hugh says, he was sold a bill of goods on what that Atlanta Falcons team was supposed to be. So we'll cover that in the conversation. You know what else we're going to get into today? Nick Sirianni, then and now. When it comes to the Nick Sirianni from the introductory press conference, to the Nick Sirianni that we saw yesterday address the media, to the Nick Sirianni that we saw address the media after his first win and after his first game as an NFL head coach. Really the difference in the two. And Brandon Graham talked about that yesterday, and we talked about it. We highlighted it. We didn't let you hear it. I'll let you hear it today. But we'll also let you hear from Nick Sirianni himself, both from the locker room after the win, because that was one of the first things I was really interested in seeing. When the season actually started, I wanted to see him in the locker room. I referred to it, him on the field and him in the locker room as sort of being in his natural habitat, if you will, to see how we would charge up the team, to see how we would be addressing the team. Because if he's going to go out there and be nervous Nicky, that's a problem. He wasn't that at all. And we'll let you see him in the locker room as the Eagles, as they always do the day after a victory. They put out the video of what the coach had to say to the team in the locker room immediately following the game. So we'll let you see that in a little bit. We'll also let you hear from Brandon Graham after Sunday's victory over the Falcons and exactly what he had to say about his head coach. And this is, I saw some of the comments after the show aired yesterday regarding the offensive line and how come I didn't have the offensive line in my top five, right? The Farzy five after the first game of the season. Well, just because it wasn't in the top five doesn't mean that they didn't play well. And overall, the offensive line played very well. And one of the things we're going to let you hear in the show also is Nick Sirianni talking about Jordan Mailata. And he tells a story about when Jordan Mailata came into Indianapolis for them to just get a look at him before he was drafted by the Eagles that year in 2018. And one of the things he talks about is just how impressive, just as a human specimen, Jordan Mailata is. But all of it came down to potential. Let's hear Nick Sirianni talk about it a little bit. But I thought it was really interesting just to hear the other perspective. When you hear Nick Sirianni talk about Jordan Mailata coming to Indianapolis for a pre-draft visit, when you hear Nick Sirianni talk about his previous experience with Gardner Minshew, it's interesting to hear the different perspective from a different organization with a guy that's obviously now here in Philadelphia, and what the view was of that particular player outside of the Eagles organization. So I enjoy that perspective of it, with that he gives you as a first-year head coach here, as a first-year really just member of the Eagles staff in general. Like, even if he was just the offensive coordinator, for instance, and wanted to talk about his other experiences with other players outside the organization, I'm always curious to get that perspective. So he gives that to us yesterday regarding Jordan Mailata. We'll let you hear him break that down. But as far as the offensive line went, we got into it a little bit when we talked about Jason Kelce. Somebody hit me up in the comments talking about how great that blocking was, and it was phenomenal. The big run by Miles Sanders late in the game. That was great. I think it was in the third quarter where Jason Kelce's just throwing people out of the way, and Miles Sanders is just basically he's basically like in a baby Bjorn, almost like in a backpack right behind Jason Kelce as he's running down the sideline. That was great, and for the most part, the offensive line played great. But the reason they weren't in my top 5 yesterday was for one reason and one reason alone: penalties. I can't say in one breath the worst part about the game was penalties, and then have the Eagles offensive line responsible for about, 7 of the 12 penalties when it came down to holding calls, when it came down to false starts. I can't say, oh, there's one terrible thing that they did I can't stand is the penalties, and then have the offensive line responsible for the vast majority of them. Did they do everything else right? Yes, they did. Did they play great outside of the penalties, which was the one negative of the game? Of course. If you're talking about a top 6, yeah, then maybe we can talk about the offensive line and how well they played overall. But when it comes to the penalties and it comes to top 5, the penalties is what knocked them out of the top 5 rankings. So for the people that do want to acknowledge the trenches and the people that want to talk about how great and how much the game comes down to those trenches, then yeah, the offensive line did play great when they were just playing the game, not when they were taking penalties. Defensive line, same type of thing in the second half. The reason I didn't put the entire defensive line in the top 5 as well, because they had a bad first half. The one guy from the defensive line that I did put in the top 5 was Javon Hargrave. And look at this. Pro Football Focus names him the best pass rusher from week 1. Pro Football Focus also said, how about this? J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was the single best wide receiver in pro football in week 1 at blocking. Huh? Did I get you? At blocking. Not at, obviously catching footballs, but at blocking. He was the best. So there's that. But overall, I really like what Nick Sirianni had to say about Sunday's win. And here he is in the locker room, him and Jeffrey Lurie, as a matter of fact, addressing the team. And one of the things I think I kept in here from the Eagles website, from PhiladelphiaEagles.com, obviously, was Devonta Smith, a guy we don't really get to see. We don't really get to see him smile a lot, but here he is having some fun. But Nick Sirianni addressing the team after his first win as a head coach.
Bring it in tight. Guys, shoot, that was sweet now. We played for each other for 60 minutes. Guys, that's the dog mentality. That's the dog mentality right there, okay? When that cage opens up, I don't care what the score is in the first half. When that cage opens up again, our teeth are snarling, we're drooling, we're ready, and we're hungry and ready to hunt again. Yeah. And again, and again, and again, and again. That's a great team win, guys. It's a great team win, but guess what? We're going to enjoy this for a little bit, and then it's round 2. And then it's round 2. All right? This time, it's in Philly. It's in Philly, round 2.
All right, to Coach Sirianni, but to every coach and player and everybody in this locker room. I mean, you've been talking fundamentals since April, May, June, July, August. Today was an example of it. Round 1, that's all it is, but you guys just couldn't be more proud of you. To Nick and the whole coaching staff and everyone in this room, this is the first of many. I think you guys can feel it. This is the first of many. Take care of your bodies. On to the 49ers.
Oh, that's a natural habitat right there. Nick Sirianni, okay, I will say a couple of things. But let me get the positive out of the way. Just going around the locker room, acknowledging guys, acknowledging how hard they played, that dog mentality that we'll hear Nick Sirianni talk about a little bit more coming up in just a second. All that stuff is great. I haven't really seen too many coaches go to notes in the locker room. He had a little thing of notes, which is fine. And I can't remember too many instances where Jeffrey Lurie was in the locker room addressing the team. Now, he's the owner of the team. They opened up the season with a win, so I'm just pointing it out, not being critical, not being harsh about it. I'm just pointing it out. But that is exactly the guy. Like Nick Sirianni in that locker room is the guy that every coach should be, basically. You see him in a press conference and you might be a little nervous, especially when he was introduced. But all that is so far in the rearview mirror now that the season has started. And all that is so far in the rearview mirror now that they're 1-0 on the season. So one of the things that he talked about yesterday was after you have a blowout win that nobody expected, and you saw the guys dancing in the locker room. We showed you the clip yesterday from Greg Ward's Instagram account where everyone's dancing in the locker room, having themselves a good time. Enjoy the win now, bask in it now, and then you move on to the San Francisco 49ers, as Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie just said, as you just heard him right there. All that's great. But now it's a matter of putting in the rearview, everything in the rearview mirror and saying, okay, now it's on to round 2 as Nick Sirianni continues this boxing theme throughout the season. And one of the things I also thought was interesting was that if you listen to the press conferences after they won the game against the Falcons, almost every single person mentions, hey, that was just round 1. Now it's on to round 2. And that's when you hear professional players, that's when you hear pro football players talk about adopting the mantra, the aura, the attitude, and the characteristics of their head coach. When the head coach instills a theme in the season, a boxing theme, it seems that everybody will reference it. When the head coach also introduces a dog mentality to this team, everybody embraces it. And what I appreciate so much about this dog mentality is that it's not about being an underdog. Like, this has fallen under criticism, and it's odd that it falls under criticism because it worked for the Eagles in their Super Bowl season. But the underdog mentality, we're the underdogs. Everyone's against us. Nobody believes in us. We're the underdogs. The thing I appreciate about the dog mentality is that to be an underdog, you have to be not that good. You have to be bad, essentially. Like, people have to look at you and go, oh, this team isn't it. And that's not always a good thing. Like, hey, look, if that's where you thrive and that's the home run and that's the comfort zone, if that's where your bread's buttered, then, hey, bask in that. Fine. But like every once in a while, I'd rather just be the really good team. I'd rather just have that team that's really good. And maybe they could still keep that chip on their shoulder of being underdogs. But I like the idea of the dog mentality, not the underdog mentality per se. Again, if that's what works for the Eagles, that's what works for the Eagles. Fine. But sooner or later, like, don't you just want to be the really good team? And I think that's where the dog mentality comes in. And I think that's where Nick Sirianni is trying to kind of have a play on the old school with the new school. And sometimes when you don't have an abrupt change, it's easier to adapt, obviously. So when you look at and listen to Nick Sirianni in the postgame, in the locker room, or listen to his postgame press conference, and he's talking about the mentality, I think a lot of players will take to that because you don't ever have to be bad to just be a dog. To be an underdog, you have to have people look down on you. And yeah, sure, you could use it as motivation. But when you're just a dog, it's not necessarily as much motivation as it is swagger. It's confidence. And I want this team feeling confident. I don't want them feeling overconfident. Fine line. But I want them feeling confident. Because as I said from the get-go, this is a team that can be really, really good if their quarterback is really, really good. Now, the only reason I highlight that obvious point is because no one really knew what Jalen Hurts was going to be. And if Jalen Hurts can be the deodorant to mistakes, the way Carson Wentz couldn't be last year, the way Carson Wentz had been, maybe in 2019, for instance, well, then this team can go places. If the offensive line stays healthy, this team can go places. And then you go on down the list of ifs. And I don't want to go down that long list because during a 17-game football season, of course, that's a pretty long list of ifs. But if you do focus on the one position, the guy that can be the ultimate deodorant, the ultimate coverall to a lot of bad things, that can be the quarterback. And if Jalen Hurts plays a lot of these games this year the way he played on Sunday, this team's going to win a lot of football games. And a double-digit season is not a far cry from reality when it comes to this football team, especially when you look around the rest of the NFC East and see what went on this past weekend, especially with Washington. They're already on Heineke as their quarterback now. You already have Ryan Fitzpatrick on IR. So there's a lot of things going on in the NFC East right now that actually go in the Eagles' favor outside of just being 1-0 when everyone else is 0-1. But here's Nick Sirianni talking about that. I almost did it. Nick Sirianni talking about that dog mentality when it comes to the Eagles and not getting too far ahead of themselves by being just 1-0 on the season.
We talked about it yesterday at the press conference. Dog mentality is just not like, hey, I made a good play here.
So I'm playing the next play, right? That's part of it, right? Or, hey, I made a bad play here and I'm playing the next play and having this short memory, right? It's also a week-to-week thing. It's a day-to-day thing, right? And so if I think about on Wednesday when we come back out here, if I think about Wednesday how we played well in the Atlanta game, then I'm going to get my butt kicked this upcoming Sunday. So it is just living in the moment of what you're in there. And so we talk about dog mentality. We really talk about, like, I know I probably sound like a broken record with it saying, hey, we just want to get better every day. And that truly is the goal. It's not, that's something I'm saying to the players too. I say always a good coaching point this is what I always say to the players. Always a good coaching point is when you know what I'm about to say after you do something, or, you know, good or bad. So it's the same thing here. Like, we truly live in the moment of how are we going to get better today? How are we going to leave this building better today than we were yesterday? Well, if you're constantly thinking, if you're thinking about the past, or you've got a big ego based off of how you played and not thinking about that, you won't do that. So it's just me reminding them, but I think also, you know, they innately have this thing, this ability to do that as well. We talk about it all the time. Players talk about it all the time. We got our shirts, right? We got our dog mentality shirts, and so we're just, you know, that's us, just how we kind of go about it. So it's my job as a coach to make sure that importance of, you know, no letdowns happens. But in all honesty, like, we won one game, we got to go out there and we got to do it again. That's what good teams do. They win. They come out on the field every Sunday ready to play, regardless of what happened the game before.
Short memory is all we're looking for right now in Philadelphia. I know a lot of fans, they might get a little amped up, and I'm not playing Fun Police. I shot down Fun Police yesterday. No Fun Police. Everybody realized it was week 1. But when it comes to this particular football team, and it comes to this football team right now, San Francisco 49ers look like a pretty good team. I know they're going to be on the road. They're going to be traveling over here, so it's going to be a tough game for them. But bottom line is the Eagles have to put this game in the rearview mirror, move forward, and try to play with the same tenacity, try to play with the same energy, try to play with the same precision that they did against the Atlanta Falcons. And on top of it all, keep that dog mentality. Side note, did anybody else catch that literally? Literally? Any Parks and Recs fans out there? What was Rob Lowe's character? Can't remember. But anyway, literally enjoying Nick Sirianni right now. Here's the other thing. We've talked about this with other managers, other coaches in the past. It's charming until they lose. If there's anything that Nick Sirianni is saying in these press conferences where he's a little nervous again or not making a lot of sense or anything, it's charming until they lose. And if they keep winning, everything becomes hunky-dory. Everything stays hunky-dory. And we'll see if we're blessed with that kind of a season. I'll be crossing my fingers for that. Let me tell you right now about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. We got Hugh Douglas coming up in just a second. If you're looking to get engaged, looking to pop the question, looking for that special gift for that special someone, look no further than IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Here's what you do. You walk into Steven Singer Jewelers. You have a real jewelry expert just show you all the beautiful inventory that they have. If you are looking to get engaged, they have Ready for Love diamond engagement rings standing by at the ready for you to check out right now. If you're looking for something a little bit more personal, something a little bit more special, then they can obviously show you everything that they have in the store, and it is pristine. And one of the best parts about it is not only are you going to be treated like family, not only are you going to be treated like a great customer, but you're going to get the perfect price every single time. So you don't have to worry about if you're getting taken advantage of. You don't have to worry about haggling or negotiating or anything like that. You walk in the door and they go, hey, what about that sale, right? No sale. Every day's the sale. 365 days, 52 weeks out of the year. Every day's the sale with the perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. So do what I do. Trust Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers and enjoy the beautiful quality diamonds that they have for the perfect price. That's the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Right in Jewelers Row in Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line and talk to a man that picked the Falcons to win this game. Our own good friend, Hugh Lamont Douglas III. And joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Folks, usually this is how it goes. Usually this is how it goes. I dial up Hugh. He jumps on. We talk. We BS a little bit. We yuck it up. We giggle. We have our good times. Not this time. Hugh's like, just push record. Just push record. And let's get this going. Hugh Lamont Douglas III. Happy Hugh's Day to you, my friend.
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on, Philadelphia?
Now, I want to just make it clear. It's not because you look at this as a nuisance. This is friends catching up. However, you just got done, 4 hours of radio at 92.9 The Game doing the mornings down there and talking about this game? I have to know, just what was the overall reaction from the fan base of the Atlanta Falcons after the Philadelphia Eagles went down there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and just put an ass whooping on them Falcons?
That ass. Shock. And I'll be the first to tell you, Mark, because I was on this show last week, and I told you, I didn't think that Jalen Hurts had to show me that he could win a game like this. And he did. So shout out to Jalen Hurts. He did a phenomenal job. He played a lot better than I thought he would. And on the flip side of that, the Falcons defense, they were non-existent. I feel like I was lied to, Mark, and that was my theme this morning. I feel like I was sold a bunch of malarkey, and I went out there as an analyst believing what I was told, and I sold that to the masses. Because when you talk about the basics of what went on during that game, outside contain, we knew that they were going to try to extend plays by getting him outside the pocket and make things happen. They did that, and he made things happen. Nobody could keep outside contain on this young man. Jalen Hurts played phenomenal yesterday. Hats off to him. Hats off to the Philadelphia Eagles. But to see that product that the Atlanta Falcons put out there on the field yesterday, we got 16 games left, Mark, and I can't do it. I cannot do it. I have never felt like this ever before in life. I am an all-in kind of guy, and I know that one game does not make the season. I understand Rome wasn't built in a day, but damn it, man. When you go – listen, I could have closed my eyes during that game, and I could have swore Dan Quinn was still here. When you talk about some of the mistakes, I knew there were going to be mistakes. I knew that. I knew that the game was going to be sloppy, and it was initially in the first half.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But when you talk about on the first drive, you come out, you get down to the 20, and the drive stalls, and you settle for 3. Then you come out in the next drive. You run the ball well. You had like 150 yards in the first half. You get down to the 20. You settle for a field goal. And I was like, oh, shit. This looks eerily like it has looked over the last couple of years. But you kind of let it go because at that point, the game's 7-6. There's a lot of football left to be played. But then when you see Jalen Mayfield getting pummeled like he was getting pummeled, getting handled like he was getting handled, and then on top of that, you see Matt Ryan out there looking like he's a dead body laying on the field, and all of his offensive linemen around him looking at him while he's laying there, don't know if he's conscious or unconscious, and not helping him up. And you're like, come on, man, what the hell's going on? I backed the wrong horse. Bottom line, I backed the wrong horse.
You were telling me about Dean Pease. You were telling me about the University of Sacker or whatever the hell it is.
And the fact that Dean Pease has coached 2 Super Bowl defenses. Dude, these cats couldn't even keep outside contained. Even I knew the fact to keep outside contained on Jalen Hurts because he's going to try to make plays with his legs.
All right. On top of that, with everything into account, and yes, obviously the Atlanta Falcons made mistakes. You said you were impressed with Jalen Hurts. How impressed were you with Jalen Hurts, and what really impressed you about this game by this young quarterback?
Well, I would say the poise. Nick Sirianni, first time signal caller, first time head coach. First head coach win as a head coach. They had a game plan. They kept it simple. And as you saw the game progress, he got more and more comfortable, and they allowed him to throw the ball down the field because early on, Mark, he was taking what the defense was giving him. And he was making plays. He was the offense initially in the first half. He was all the Eagles' offense. And once he got comfortable, then that's when they let him fly. They let him do his thing. And to be honest, I always said it takes at least 4 games to see what a young quarterback is, and his 4 games was last year. The leap to me that he's taken in that short period of time and that small window was pretty phenomenal. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know there's a lot of football left to be played, but I'm excited about this young man's upside. And I got to eat a lot of crow today, if you want to say eagle, falcon, whatever it is. I got to eat that today because I was totally wrong about this young man. I was impressed. I really was impressed.
I will say the fact that you said poise is what kind of led off for you about what was impressive about him. I mean, so many times we were looking at Carson Wentz waiting for the mistake. So many times we're waiting for the errant throw, the fumble, the bad decision to try to go for the extra yard, and then he fumbles, or not throwing the football away and taking the bad sack. There were multiple times, and if you remember, there was that big play, that fourth down attempt, the first fourth down attempt the Eagles attempt tried there. Jalen Hurts scrambled far to his right. He had the defensive lineman on his tail.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's rolling to his right. I thought he was going to run out of bounds and give the ball over to the Falcons at midfield, and at the last second, he hesitated and he threw it away. I'm so glad you said poise.
Yeah, I mean, and man, listen, the guy, I had a chance to see the guys before the game, went and chopped it up, had a chance to talk to Brandon Graham. And, I just asked him, hey, are you guys ready? And to a man, they looked at me, and as soon as I said it, their eyes lit up, and it made me want to play defense because those guys were ready to go. They were like, this guy's a statue back here. We about to get after him. And they did. They did. And then at the end, when they had the choreographed dance, where I guess they were kicking in the door or whatever. Oh, man, I thought that was the coolest thing. I thought that was the coolest thing that I've seen in a while. But I'm not going to lie. I'm a little torn because I picked the Falcons to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was riding with the Falcons because, like I said, I was misled into believing that it was going to be different. And like I told you, I could have closed my eyes, Marc, and I swear that was a Dan Quinn coach defense out there that I saw. It was ridiculous.
All right. Well, first off, I'm glad you said that you wanted to suit up because I think the Eagles could have used you on that defensive line in the first half because you guys were running the football all over. I'm sorry. I just said you guys. I just put you with the Falcons.
No, you're not fair. I mean, hell, I can't come back to Philadelphia for a while anyway. I can't because you can't imagine what my timeline looks like. There are people ridiculing me for making that pick and saying that stupid stuff that came out my mouth about that Philadelphia Eagles, that Atlanta Falcons defense, because you know what? I sold a bunch of wolf tickets. They got a bunch of guys up front. They're gonna bring some pressure. They got one sack. They got one sack. So, I deserve it. But the good thing about this is there's a game next week. and I expect I'm gonna get ridiculed at least till Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I'll have some residual hangovers.
Wow.
After that, it's on to the next one.
Yeah, I was one of the people doing the ridiculing, but only because you put the tweet out about you being sold a bill of goods, and I couldn't help but sending you the Cartman tweet.
Oh, no, yeah. You know what? I deserve that. Listen, I was in my feelings yesterday a lot because I like looking at it live, watching it go down. I was like, wow, this is not how I thought this was going to play out. I at least knew that for the most part, you were going to make Jalen Hurts beat you from the pocket. Not saying that he can't throw the ball, but when you talk about a young quarterback and you have a 14-year veteran on the other side, you would think that you're going to do everything you possibly can to make this young man uncomfortable. Now, granted, they blitzed him a little bit, and if it would have been any other quarterback, they probably would have got to him. But they didn't. And he was able to make plays. He was able to extend plays. He played well, man. He played extremely well.
Did you tell Brandon Graham and the boys while you were chopping up there with them pregame? Your words, not mine. Did you tell them you happened to pick the Falcons?
Yes, I did.
You did? Oh.
Yeah, I didn't hide that fact. Listen, Marc, I keeps it 100.
Oh, I know.
I said, and you know what? Brandon was like, I said, I picked the Falcons because of the quarterback play. He said, I understand. And then that's when they proceeded to get after his ass. So, but still, he knew that. Listen, Brandon's a savvy vet. Fletcher Cox is a savvy vet. They knew how this game was going to go, and they played like it. They did everything possible to help their young quarterback out. They did that. Mm-hmm. And they did. I commend them. My hats off to them. Fly, Eagles, fly, all of that, because they did exactly what you're supposed to do as a defender. You're supposed to put your quarterback in the best possible position that you possibly can. 6 points. They gave up 6 points yesterday. And somebody had the nerve to tell me, listen, nobody in Atlanta likes Matt Ryan. That's just a fact. And a lot of people are laying this blame at the feet of Matt Ryan. Now, he has some blame for the way that they played, but not all the blame. 32 points. 32 points that you gave up. The norm when I played was 17. Like, that's the most you could give up and expect in a football game. It's 17 points. So if you want to blame Matt Ryan because you don't like Matt Ryan and things like that, yes, he is partly to blame. But I could blame Jalen Mayfield for that. I could blame the offensive line. I could blame the play calling. Hell, I could blame the stupid-ass penalties that the receivers got in key situations. But defensively, you gave up 32 points. That's supposed to be the bread and butter of any football team going into the season. You look at the way defenses play early on, they're supposed to be ahead of offense. They're supposed to be flying around. They're supposed to be salty. There was only one salty defense on the field yesterday, and they were wearing green. They were wearing green. That was the only salty defense that I saw yesterday.
You didn't happen to get a chance to meet Jalen Hurts, did you?
I saw him. I got a chance to see, and didn't get a chance to meet him because it was kind of quick, and I could tell the young man was focused. The young man was focused, so he was doing his thing. So didn't get a chance to meet him.
I got to tell you this one thing in case you didn't see it after the game. Jalen Hurts got asked in the press conference afterwards about things being called to fit his skill set. And I never thought about it like this ever, but I've never seen someone look insulted when you asked a legit question of things being catered to their skill set. Because his response was, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about when it really comes to skill set, but I just try to execute the play that's called. Like it was like, don't put me in a box of being this specific type of quarterback that can only do these handful of plays. I'm a quarterback. I'll play that position.
I'll say this, Marc. I understand where he's coming from because he wants to be more than what he is right now. And that's great. I commend him for that because that means that he's striving to be better. But early on, when you look at the handful of plays, the RPOs, the rollouts and things of that nature, that was designed for him to have success early and get comfortable. And once he did, then you saw in the second half him become more of a quarterback and throw the ball down the field and take chances with the football. So I totally understand where he's coming from. But I'm going to tell you here to a man, my opinion of Jalen Hurts has changed drastically over a 6-day period. I mean, it really, really has. It really, really has. Don't laugh at me.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. As I drink your tears of unfathomable sadness. Anyway. All right. So that's Jalen Hurts. Nick Sirianni didn't have the most impressive press conference to open things up. What'd you make of his game plan?
Not a bad game plan, man. Listen, you played to your team's strengths. The defense is the strength. Eagles look pretty good. A lot of football left to be played, but they look pretty good coming out the gate.
I know you were talking to the defensive line before the game, and I want to go back to this because we only touched on it briefly. As a former defensive lineman, Mike Davis had his way with the defensive line throughout the first. I mean, most anyone who ran the football, Cordarrelle Patterson had his way with this defense for crying out loud. What did you notice? I kind of saw in the second half 8 men in the box a hell of a lot more. I didn't necessarily see them get away from the 3 down linemen. They had 4 down linemen a lot in the second, or more than they did in the second half than they did in the first half. Those are a couple of things I noticed. It seemed like a big adjustment, but throughout that entire time, Javon Hargrave, I thought, was the only defensive lineman that played 4 quarters of football.
Yeah, I think that early on, the run was there. It kind of was perplexing how you didn't stick to it early on and try to, capitalize on those points early on. And then in the second half, you really had to get away from it because that's when the game started to get out of hand. That's when you started to get in those predictable downs where you had to throw the football. And that's when those guys, Hargraves and everybody, started to tee off. And I was just sitting there like, wow. I mean, but that's what you want. That's what you want as a defender. You want to be able to tee off. And on the flip side of that, I remember, like I said, Matt Ryan laying out there like a dead body. And somebody was mining tweets. Somebody was tweet mining. And they found a tweet where Jalen Mayfield was in college, and he said, if you want your quarterback protected or you don't want your quarterback hit, draft me. And I was thinking to myself, listen, you had a rough day. Now, there was a lot of conversation, a lot of talk today on our radio station, 92.9 The Game, about going out and trying to find a guard. And I don't want to say the trash heap, but going out and trying to find a guard because we're getting ready to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm like, no, You can't do that. You got to let this young man go back out there, regardless who he's playing against, and get back on the horse and try to correct it. Now, I did suggest, because we're playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're going against Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea. So I did suggest Marc Farzetta as a suggestion that before the game started, you go out there on the field while they're doing warm-ups and you slap the taste out of one of their mouths. Because that's probably going to be the only time you're going to get a lick in on either one of those guys, because it's going to be a long day. But you got to do it. You got to go out there and you got to get back on the horse. You have to.
That's why you should be coaching. No, not at all.
You got to go. Bro, you got to slap somebody, man.
Just go out there and slap them.
Slap them across the list, man.
Coach, the game hasn't started yet. Like hell it hasn't. Get out there and slap him in the mouth.
Might as well. That's the only turn you going to get, because they're going to be taking turns on you.
Tell him Black Angus sent you.
Black Angus.
So as you would imagine, I think a lot of people in Philadelphia today are feeling pretty good as we tape this on Monday. A lot of people in Philadelphia feeling really good about this Eagles football team. I didn't see an overly aggressive Eagles defense either, really, throughout the game. I thought throughout the game they really relied on the pressure by their front four, something I thought that was going to change. Did you notice anything in terms of blitzing or anything like that with the defense?
So, like, we knew going into this game that the matchup favored the Philadelphia Eagles up front. We knew that because, this line was makeshift. They were young and things of that nature. I thought that initially that the game plan would be to get the ball out of Matt Ryan's hands a little bit faster. I thought some quick slants was going to be there and things of that nature. And Marc, it really didn't look like they were getting the ball out very, very fast. I mean, they got the ball out. They made some plays offensively in the passing game. But I thought I was thinking, more of a quick game. Get the ball out quick, turn and run, make that defense run side to side. I didn't see any of that. And I think that probably was a part of the problem what was the big reason why they were getting manhandled up front. You can't let those guys up front tee off on those young linemen.
Right.
You can't have that happen. And then you talk about next week playing against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's going to be more of the same. Now, you talk about a salty defense. That's a salty Super Bowl caliber defense that you're playing against. So it's going to be another long day.
Imagine how pissed off they'll be after you slap him in the face a bunch of times, too. Pre-game.
That's going to be about it. Just go there and slap somebody, man.
Two more things. One on Nick Sirianni, but first, before that, Devonta Smith, he looks like the real deal. Everything he did in college, I saw in this game against the Falcons.
They showed in the cut where at the exact same spot when Jalen threw that touchdown to him, where he caught it when he played at Alabama. And people in the stadium, I was in the press box and they were going bananas. Like, you know what? He caught that in the same spot on the field. Oh my gosh! I mean, man, listen, they went bananas when they saw that. So yeah, he looks like he's going to be a special player, man. Listen, the sky's the limit for that young football team. You get that first one, the way that you got it, confidence is building. I'm pretty sure that next week the game plan is going to expand even more for him. And I'm only expecting nothing but positive growth from Jalen Hurts from here on out.
What was the best meeting you ever had the night before a game? There's a lot of talk right now about Nick Sirianni having this. He got emotional, Hugh. He got emotional the night before the game when he was addressing his team. He had everybody kind of go around, and according to Lane Johnson, who I spoke to last night on the post-game show I'm hosting with Derek Gunn, he said that everyone went around and was dabbing up. They were dabbing up with everybody. They're dapping up, right? When it comes to an emotional meeting like that, can you think of one that you had as a player with a head coach that was leading it, obviously?
Well, obviously it had to be one with Big Red, but all of those were emotional. And I remember, coming back to Philadelphia, playing the Giants, getting ready for our Super Bowl run, how he was just excited about getting after it. And I thought that was exciting, just being in Philadelphia, man. And then shout out, with that being said, Marc Farzetta, shout out to all the Philadelphia Eagle fans that made the trip to Atlanta. Because when you look in the parking lot, like I'm doing my pregame show in the parking lot, and there were Eagle fans in the parking lot. I'm taking pictures with the fans. I had to go in the game and do the pregame before the game, and there were Eagle fans. Man, everywhere you went, I thought I was in Philadelphia yesterday. The only thing that I was missing was a cheesesteak. And picking the right team to win. That was it.
Nobody brought Nobody brought you a cheesesteak? Come on, guys. Jeez.
Nobody brought me a cheesesteak.
On a somber note, my friend, you and I, we lost a friend. We lost a friend last week in Big Daddy Graham, and I know you saw that as well. Any memories with Big Daddy up here in Philadelphia you want to just kick around real quick and just working with the guy?
No, man, listen. The crossover was the best. And you know what I remember about Big Daddy Graham is he used to do this skit that I kind of took and made it a little bit of my own, but it was his first. Mr. Hockey. Remember when he used to do Mr. Hockey? And
Mr. Hockey has spoken!
Mr. Hockey has spoken. So I remember taking that and making it Mr. Black Hockey because at the time, I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then when he was done talking, he was like, Mr. Hockey has spoken. I used to go, Mr. Black Hockey has spoken. What are the Flyers going to do tonight, Hugh? They're going to skate and they're going to win. Mr. Black Hockey has spoken. Oh, man. That was just the best. And then, you know, Big Daddy and the snack. You know, the snack of the night.
Oh, it was the best.
Snack. We used to make fun, like, snack. But he used to say snack all the time.
Snack.
He used to take the cake crimpets or whatever it was, and he would break down the levels of the snack, man.
Oh, this jelly crimpet.
And he would eat it on the air. Yeah, man. Listen, he will be missed, man. He will be missed. You know, I work with some great people up there at WIP at the radio station, and he was definitely one of them, man. He was definitely one of them. So he was truly be missed.
Certainly, I'll be in touch with everybody, and I will certainly pass that along, my friend. Hey, thanks for that little inside information, by the way, about seeing the boys before the game. Maybe seeing you, former Eagle great, betting against them. Maybe that riled them up to play at their level.
I'll take that blame. I was the one that got them riled up.
We won't air this. Just tell everyone in Atlanta not to watch this. That's fine.
Don't watch it.
Hugh Lamont Douglas III. Always great catching up with you. Happy Hughes Day to you, my friend.
Holla.
Hugh Douglas joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Thanks to Hugh Douglas for joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Mr. Black Hockey has spoken. I completely forgot about. Mr. Hockey has spoken is one of Big Daddy's all-time best running bits. It was just a great bit. My thanks to Hugh for joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. A couple of things real quick with Hugh. I would like to see just one person come up and be like, why'd you go out pregame and slap Ndamukong Suh? Coach Douglas told me to do it. That seemed like a bad idea. Hey, coach wanted me to do it. What do you want from me? I don't think that would really go over well in today's media. But hey, whatever gets the team going, I guess. Let me tell you about our good friends at Rothman Orthopaedics who bring us that fine guest line each and every day. Remember the old you? The one who didn't have to put up with a finicky hip, a fickle knee, or maybe a shoulder that no longer does what a shoulder should do? Rothman Approach to Orthopedics is what you need, and it's here to get you back to being you. Back to running, walking, and working. Back to playing. Back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and 76ers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. I was talking to my man, producer Jim, before the show. You know what he highlighted for me? A bad beat. Talking a little Ravens, talking a little Raiders. Well, guess what? If you want to avoid all them bad beats, this is what you can do. You can download the BetQL app. That's BetQL. Only app that you'll need to make smart bets. The best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets, people. They do it per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every single game across all major sports, and it gives you reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads to over-unders as well as player prop bets. So make sure you take advantage of BetQL. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do your own research? BetQL also gives you all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data as well as line movement, team summaries, lineup and injuries, breaking news, all that stuff. Make sure you use BetQL. Even the leaderboards will track your success. So you can make sure you use BetQL to make the smart bet. Download the app in the App Store or Google Play Store. Download BetQL. I want to tell you about my man Anthony Cavada at Steak and Maine. Check it out, steakandmain.com, an amazing restaurant in Northeast Maryland. I always see these great posts from Tony putting out the stories about people that go, they're traveling, they stop by, and they're just blown away with how great Steak and Main is. Whether you dine in the more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. The crab dip, folks, that's the one thing I don't brag about enough for this place. I tell you about the tomahawk steak. You know how much I love that. The crab dip is next level. You know why it's next level? Because not only is the crab dip with like delicious, gooey, oh man, it's so good. The cheese and the crab mixed in, obviously. It's not, guess what? It's not just a little bit of crab. It's not like, here's a little bit of crab, make you feel like you're getting something nice. No. It's a healthy amount of crab. It's a lot of crab, okay? And then, you know what they do with the little toast that you dip in the crab dip? They sprinkle a little Old Bay on that right there. Or maybe it's J.O. I don't know. It's one or the other. Or maybe it's their own special thing going on, their own special crab seasoning. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's fantastic. And you can just inject it right into my veins. It's that delicious. So make sure you check out Steak and Main, steakandmain.com for more information. Also, with that tomahawk steak, don't forget the wine pairing, the Cavada Cellars wines, the nice Pinot Noir that you can get with that the tomahawk steak. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Steak and Main in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and Cooking Channel. Check them out for yourself. Go to steakandmain.com for more information. Let me tell you about WinView. The only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all of who's the bigger sports fan between you and another fellow fan. All those friends and family who think they know everything. Oh, my God, so annoying. Play them in a WinView contest and see if they can walk the walk as much as they can talk the talk. You want to break up the monotony of family dinners and get-togethers? Well, how about a little WinView action? Put that on any game, and a fantasy is better than fantasy football, as a matter of fact. While you're tracking the games on Sunday, you can also make sure you see if your player's killing it for your team, and also see who you're playing against to see if you're beating up on that just beloved family member or friend. Make sure you take advantage of all that they have to offer. It's a social gaming app where you can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that you love. So download the WinView app right now. And make sure you're following all the stuff going on in the Philadelphia sports scene as per usual at PHL Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Let's check in now with our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Main at steakandmain.com. Chris Traeger, first name, last name, Traeger. That was the guy from Parks and Recreation. That was Rob Lowe's character, where it literally made me happy just to see him. Parks and Rec, real quick. Ron Swanson's one of my favorite all-time television characters of all time. I just want you to know that about me. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Good morning. Extremely tired. Hugh's day. Dan, why are you tired, bro? You all right, bud? Dan Schwartz first to say good morning, as per usual, leading off, playing center field, as some people like to say. Mally's checking in, saying hi. What's up, April? There we go. Heavy hitters right out of the gate right there. Broads is checking in. What's going on, Broads? Oh, Dan's happy the Phillies are back tonight. That's cute. That makes one of us. April's checking in. College football is already bigger story down here. Oh, yeah. Where you're at, April, I'm sure. I don't doubt that even a little bit. Dan, the Phillies sacrifice Sunday's win so the Eagles can win. It's a mind game. Now, you're always playing that card. I think you're always playing that card, because aren't you the one that tell me that we sold our souls for that Super Bowl win? And I know you're not the only person with that opinion. I know a lot of people have that opinion. I refuse to live in a 5 sports town with the Union as well, the amazing Philadelphia Union. I refuse to play the robbing Peter to pay Paul thing. Like, no. I want it all. Get greedy, folks. Live your life. Let's see here. April. Yeah, let's look up the dial. I don't know. Oh, dial up. Sorry. Let's look. Wait. Yeah, it looks like dial up. Oh. No, the stream was terrible. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my internet, but that's all I got for you. It's great 1 minute, it's terrible the next. Dan, I can't keep up this morning. So tired. I can't think of any witty comments. I guess I'll just have to go the usual. I can't stand Ben Simmons. And Dan, you're so tired, you actually put Ben Summons. That's how tired you are, Dan. The kid's running you around? God bless you, brother. Hope you're all right. Sealski sucks. Hi, April. Rob's checking in. He is something else. That is true. Mally, Phillies suck. I got you, April. Rob's checking in. Literally. Did my sign just fall down? I just saw it in the view. That's what you call doing a live show, folks. That's what you do. That's what happens when you do a digital show and it's a live show drops every morning at 6 a.m. Mally's all about the facts. That would be hilarious. Steven's. Oh, you're talking about Joe from yesterday. Yeah, Joe at the office. Yeah, man. I hear you. Hugh knew they were going to be trash. Mally is saying that. Hugh, when you think about it, Hugh's the guy that got him jazzed up. Hugh's the guy that went down to the field and started talking to the players to get him going for everything that was going on in the game. And, hey, you guys aren't going to win this game. And he kept it real. And Brandon Graham was like, oh, we got something for Matt Ryan. Love that. Ryan was trash. The whole team was trash, according to April. I don't disagree. Rob again, literally. Cody's checking in. What's up, Cody? Cody's saying 1,000% Dante, laugh out loud. Dante says, anyone else feel like PJ is a Craigslist guy? Jim, you can just give me the thumbs up. Are you a Craigslist guy? Do you have anything in your house by Craigslist? No? Okay. We got something on, what do you call it? Parent share or something? It's where, like, basically if your kid grows up, outgrows something, you could sell it to another parent that could use it. We bought like a kitchen tower for my kid, for little Toots. And it, like, basically lets the kid stand up and, like, if you're working on something on the kitchen counter, like making cookies, they can stand up there and make cookies with you. Or if they want to play in the sink, they can have them play in the sink. My daughter little Toots loves filling up cups of water and, like, dumping them out, just like, and then dumping it all over herself and then getting it on the floor. And then I slip and I almost die. So anyway, we all have fun here. We all have fun here. Oh, you don't think that's what he meant by Craigslist guy? Oh, me scusi. Oh, wait, Jim, do you have the windowless van now? Just asking. No, you don't. You have an awesome truck, by the way. Too much porn on the servers. Erotica, Brett. Erotica. 6 Sports. Craig, who am I missing? Oh, we have Frisbee. Of course we have Frisbee. Those guys are awesome. How are you? Henry's asking me how am I recovering for hockey. Terrible. I'm recovering terrible from hockey. I'm in so much pain. Somehow my neck hurts. How the hell does my neck? Like, I told you about the one guy wrapping the stick around my neck, and I was able to get an assist because I'm a hockey man. I'm a hockey warrior. Yeah, that's a quote from Airborne. Yeah, how's that for a pull? Anyway, maybe that's why it hurts. I don't know. But I will say, folks, if you're like me and you want to hold on to any of your athletic prowess from your younger days, 2 things. 1, Rothman Orthopaedics. The other, ice bath. I have never taken an ice bath before. So you know what I did? I told you I went to the beer distributor by me, and I picked up a big old thing of ice, threw it in the tub, jumped in. And they were telling me, Nasty was telling me, you just got to jump right in. Like, you can't ease into it. I stepped into the tub, and I went, oh, my God. Like, oh, my God. Rose, move off the freaking board. Let me move up there from the Titanic sinking. God, it was that cold. Too soon? Titanic joke? Anyway, so I get in. I'd step in. I went, oh, my God. And then I just sat down as fast as I could. And I will say, I spent like 20 minutes in there. I don't know how long you're supposed to spend there. And it was almost instant relief. And I was able to, like, operate and move around the rest of the day, most of Sunday, but still sore. But I highly recommend it because it would have been a lot worse without the ice bath. I will say that much. This guy just wrapped a stick around my neck. Oh, wow. Can't understand why it hurts. Now, April, it would feel like a bruise if it was just from that. It feels like my entire neck is strained. That's what it feels like. But I'm not a doctor. But you know who is? The people of Rothman Orthopaedics. Jim confidently says he doesn't buy anything. April saying Jim buys people, not things from Craigslist. I haven't been on Craigslist in a while. I got my first actual apartment, just my apartment that I got when I entered adulthood and made a whopping $32,000 a year as a promotions director for WIP. My first apartment I got off Craigslist. I will say that. And that's pretty much it. It's been a break for me and Craigslist ever since. So I'm out of touch when it comes to the Craigslist, folks. Thanks for everyone that checked in our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. I'm going to play you a clip now as we go into our Morning Rush segment, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com, a car for every budget. I want to lead it off with this. Monday Night Football. Raiders, as I think you have to say, legally obligated. Ravens going to overtime. The Raiders end up winning that game, and if you bet that game, it didn't work out too well for you, but it was a crazy game. Interceptions off the helmet, this, that, and the third. Henry Ruggs actually showed up late in the game for the Raiders. Raiders win the game in overtime, so how about that? What else did I want to get you? Phillies versus Chicago Cubs starts today. Hey, remember the Phillies? Anyway, Phillies 4.5 games out of first place. Gibby on the bump today for the Phillies. They start the 3-game series with the Chicago Cubs, everybody. Oh, by the way, I think I mentioned to you before the Smartless podcast, Will Ferrell episode, great story about how he started doing the Harry Carey impression. I think he first did it for Groundlings, then did it for a Saturday Night Live audition, and then did it on Saturday Night Live. But it's a great story about how he got started on that. Nick Sirianni, Jordan Mailata. I told you guys I'd get to it in the Morning Rush segment. Here it is. This is Nick Sirianni talking about Jordan Mailata when he walked into the Colts practice facility for a pre-draft visit.
We did bring him into Indy when we were there to for that pre-draft work, and so we knew how big of I just remember our strength coach was like, this guy is a huge man, and obviously that's very obvious, but he had a ton of muscle mass and like something that they'd never seen before ever. And so we were all kind of salivating over him and the potential that he had. But that's what it was. It was potential, right? It wasn't like you turned on South Carolina, Clemson, and you're like, look at this guy block. It was all potential. So ton of credit goes to obviously Jordan for developing himself into a player that gets a type of contract like this, and also his position coach, Jeff Stoutland. I mean, that, and so when you get a player that has good character, that really likes football, you know what, with Jordan, I'm not even sure that he knew he liked football until he got around Stout and got around playing, and that's tough because he's tough, right? Then he can reach his potential, and Jordan has, as like we all said, is potential. He had potential coming out, and he's just done a good job of maximizing it. And he's a young player. We still think he's got his arrow still pointing up.
Oh, that's great on Jordan Mailata. That you just heard him talking about how good Jordan Mailata coming in and all that fun stuff. I'm laughing because Jim just texted me, and he just wants to make it abundantly clear. PJ texted me, producer Jim. He wants to make it abundantly clear that he does not, in capitals, N-O-T, capitals, does not buy people via Craigslist. All right? He uses Wayfair, people. Come on. What are we doing here? Anyway. By the way, producer Jim isn't producing this. The 6 people he bought. Anyway. 2 people likely use Craig. PJ, I hope you're seeing Cody's comments here because they're pretty hilarious. And I don't even want to go there because it actually involves somebody else's children. So I don't want to really go there. Anyway, our comment section is awesome. You guys are fire every single day. I put the sign back, by the way. It's crooked. I'll have to do a better job of taping that. I need to do a better job of putting my sign in a better position to show people what the hell show they're watching. Anyway, that was Nick Sirianni on Jordan Mailata. I've mentioned this before. Jordan Mailata is one of the best people you could talk to in that locker room. He's just a great guy, and he is a behemoth human being. Like, I remember seeing King Dunlap, who was like 6'8". For whatever reason, Jordan Mailata just like he feels like an Andre the Giant type of person. Like, he's just one of those guys that's like, that guy can't be human, right? Like, the humans aren't supposed to be that size. And I've been around plenty of basketball players, but none of them are like Jordan Mailata that have that weight to him, that heft to him, so to speak. The guy's a monster, and he worked his ass off, so good for him. Brandon Graham, on Nick Sirianni. I talked about this yesterday. I want to, not a Wayfair joke. Come on, April. Too soon? How many? I love too soon jokes. Anyway, here's what I got. I told you about yesterday, Brandon Graham talking about Nick Sirianni, and Nick Sirianni referencing his first press conference and how people held his feet to the fire over the press conference. Here is Brandon Graham talking about Nick Sirianni and why he wants to play for this head coach so hard.
You know, you want to fight for him because, you know, he been the same guy since he got here. And he even, you know, joked about the other day about his first time doing the media and how everybody ripped him and how mad he was. But at the same time, he was like, you know, you had to shake it off and come back and do it again. And you got to make sure you had that next play and that dog mentality and know that, you know, you're here for a reason and you can do it and you're going to make mistakes, but it's the ones that can not worry about it and not let that mistake stay in your mind, you know. And I think that for him, we just wanted to go out there and play hard for him because, like I say, he's been the same guy since he got here. There's no fakeness with this team. I think that the energy is real, and man, it's just the sky's the limit for us if we just keep at it.
Hi, Nick Sirianni. If the moon were made of cheese, would you eat it? Anyway, that's a great thing from Brandon Graham. It's a lot of fun. Good times. Final thing. Let us put a bow on this conversation, for now at least. Here's Adam Schefter yesterday hitting up social media, and I see this post from old Shefty, and it's got this thing there, and he's talking about Deshaun Watson. And then you go down below, and there's the comment with Shefty, and it says, if you go down way down to the bottom here, Shefty says that the Houston general manager is going to take nothing less than 6 combined players and picks for Deshaun Watson. Now, we knew the asking price was high, and there was a couple of things out there, and that's supposedly why the Eagles wanted to get away from this. But look, this price is going to go down, but they have no intention of trading him unless they get these 6 players. That's the deal right now, supposedly. But that is way too high for any quarterback in the NFL, let alone one with all the horrible things surrounding him right now and all the horrible positions that he put himself in, that he's at right now with 22 women accusing him of sexual assault. But that's the latest from, I just want to put a bow on this, from Adam Schefter when it comes to everything surrounding Deshaun Watson. So there you go. Eagles 49ers coming up this weekend. Looking forward to that. Of course, we're going to revisit some of the stuff from Hugh Douglas tomorrow. But make sure you check that out. If you missed it earlier in the live show, make sure you go back and check out Hugh Lamont Douglas III on his pregame visit to see the Eagles, obviously, before the game and talk to them about what he's got going on that. And all that other stuff that's going on. Just for the record, again, our producer, Jim, does not believe in human trafficking. Just so you go. Thanks to producer Jim for producing the program. Did a phenomenal job. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Thanks to everyone that commented on the show. Appreciate you. Make sure you hit subscribe on our fine YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Be back with you guys tomorrow here on the Farzy Show at the Steven Singer Studios. In April, I saw your last comment. Yeah, maybe I will use command strips on the old sign back there. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. I'm Marc Farzetta from the Steven Singer Studios. Peace.